What is it that motivates a person to be consistently focused on their vision, to motivate themselves to go in the direction that they prefer, and to fearlessly and relentlessly work towards that every single day or just on a consistent basis, whatever that means for that person? What is it that allows a person to tap into that fire energy of being consistently dedicated to what they truly care about, to be self-motivated in that way? Look, I'm not here to come off as some authority figure or above you or arrogant. And I know this is going to sound a little bit arrogant, but I consider myself to be an extremely self-motivated person. And I've found a couple things in my life that have been extremely beneficial for me to step into this space of being motivated to work towards what I care about every single day. And I want to share with you a couple of these things so that you can actually incorporate this in your life potentially if you want to incorporate that aspect of what I've incorporated into your consciousness so that it can hopefully support your vision and help you to create what you truly want. So in this video, we're going to talk about how to become extremely self-motivated so that you can step into your vision in the most effortless and easeful way possible, allowing you to be aligned with what you truly care about. So if you're new to this channel, what I want you to do is I want you to hit that subscribe button. I want you to hit that notification bell because I do post a new video every single day. Also, if you want to work with me one-on-one personally, by the way, I'm running a brand new coaching program that I just launched and there are limited spots available. Then hit the link that's in the description box of this video to apply for a free consultation to be a part of that if you want. And there are limited spots available. So if you do want to be part of it, I encourage you to apply as soon as possible. Now, the first thing I want to share with you is to be fed up with where you are. Now, I'm not saying that you have to be resisting where you are, but personally, the times where I've really decided to become something new and decided that I'm gonna go in a certain direction was when I realized that I wasn't happy with who I was becoming. Not from a space of resistance or not accepting where I'm at, but just seeing that like I'm not necessarily totally satisfied with the life that I'm creating. Now, I know how that sounds. It's like, well, Francis, shouldn't you be satisfied with everything that you have? I agree. I think we should be completely satisfied with everything that we have. But you can also sit with yourself honestly and decide, am I truly happy with the life that I'm creating? So if I get to my deathbed and I continue creating what I'm creating now and I have a similar life that I have now, would I be satisfied with that? I think it's so critical to remind ourselves that we're limited beings. Yes, we're unlimited. Yes, I believe we reincarnate. And yes, we have unlimited energy to some degree. But it's also important to honor the fact that we're limited human beings and that there's no guarantees in life for anything. You could die tomorrow and not necessarily manifest your dreams. Now, I know how that sounds. It's like, oh, I'm going to click off this video right now. That's too much. But look, you got to be honest with yourself. Are you creating the life that you truly want for yourself? I think that people are scared to contemplate this, but the problem with being scared to contemplate this is that even if we don't think about it, we are headed in a general momentum and we are headed in a certain direction, whether we're conscious of it or not. So you can be emotional and like just not resonate with what I'm saying. And in fact, that's fine if you don't resonate. I don't mean to say that like in an attacking way. It's like, oh, he's attacking me saying I'm emotional. No, I mean like we can I'm part of this with you too. Like I can be scared to contemplate that, but still it's important to remember that I'm going to be headed in a certain direction regardless of how I feel about that is what I'm saying. So regardless of what we feel about where we're headed, we are headed where we're headed. And so I think it's important to have a logical look of like, what is the general direction that I'm headed in my life based on the actions that I'm taking and who I'm surrounding myself with and just everything that I'm incorporating. And just to ask ourselves, are we happy with that? Are we okay with that? Are we satisfied? Is that your preference? Because you can be satisfied, but is that your preference? Because think about it like this. This is the place that I'm coming from. Personally, I'm not interested in survival. I'm not here just to survive. I'm here to thrive. You see what I'm saying? I'm not here just to get by, just to get through the day, or like just to get through the week. No, I'm here to wake up every single day and work towards my preference to create an epic dream life that I'm already living now, but to create more of that and amplify that even more every single day. And so the first step is to say, am I happy with where I'm going? And at some point you have to decide, in my opinion, like, hey, I'm fed up with going in this same direction every single day. Like, I could stay in that direction. It's not like you'd be listen, we all know we're going to be fine. We live in a society with so much comfort. Like, you'll be fine. Like, if you don't create your dream life, you'll be okay. You'll be satisfied. It's not going to end your life, and you'll be okay. But this is the question that I always ask: is that your preference, and is that what you really want? So sometimes when I invite people into a higher space of creating more, it can sound like I'm dishonoring where they are. It's like, Francis, this is too much for me. This is too masculine. I just want to click off this video because it sounds like you're not accepting where I'm at, and you're saying that I'm wrong, like I'm wrong for being where I'm at. No, you'll be fine. I don't judge you for being where you're at. I don't think there's anything wrong with being where you're at. But it's just so important, in my opinion, to sit with the fact, like, are you okay with going in that general momentum for the rest of your life? And I've connected with a lot of people the last 2 years. I've had thousands of calls at this point, minimum the last 2 years. I'm at least 1,000 calls, to be honest with you. At least I've connected with like 1,000 people, probably more. And I've seen that people are scared to contemplate the general momentum that they're headed in. And they think that one day the universe is gonna, make them change, or like, it's like, yeah, Francis, it's inevitable that I'll create what I want. I would agree that on some level, no matter what, we're gonna step into what we want. But that may not happen in this lifetime. And when we do step into what we want, it is going to be a choice, regardless of if we're ready to do so or not. There's not going to be some magical universe supporting you. There will be. You can receive the synchronicities. You can receive the divine support. You can get all the messages that are coming to you. But at some point, you have to meet the universe halfway, and you decide who you become. You decide what you want to create. And that begins with asking yourself, are you okay with the momentum that you're headed in, and are you fed up with that? When are you going to decide that you're fed up with that direction? I had to decide that I was fed up. I used to have a lot of health issues. We'll talk about more about those in another video. And I was just fed up with who I was becoming. I wasn't satisfied with those health issues. I was okay. I totally accepted those health issues, but do I want to keep recreating these issues in my life? No, that's not what I truly wanted. And when I share it like that, it can really start to spark with people like, oh, now I see what he's saying. It's like, it's okay, but do I want this? That's what we're going to be asking ourselves. So however you do it, I encourage you to ask yourself questions, contemplate where you're headed, to get to a point where you are not okay with where you are. And I know how that sounds. I'm not saying to resist where you are, but to kind of be like just not okay with it in a space where it's like, this is just not my preference kind of energy, Because I don't want to make it sound like you should resist anything in life. I don't encourage that at all. I wouldn't encourage anybody to resist where they are. I don't think that's a recipe for living a good life at all. That's not the most wisest way to live. But it's about having that higher vision and being motivated enough to see that I'm just not, this isn't my preference, and I want something more, if that makes sense. So number 2, what I want to share with you is know who you want to become. So critical. Look at yourself in the mirror. Are you happy with who you're becoming? Are you happy with the foods you're eating, with the way that you're becoming, with not even with the foods that you're eating, but like all the habits that you're doing are assisting you to become something? Or they're not, or they're not supporting you and they're going against what you want to become. Take an honest look at yourself, and don't be scared to do this. This is what I encourage everybody to do. And just sit with the fact that you're becoming something. You're becoming something every single day. Whether you're becoming the same kind of person every single day, whether you're regressing and becoming less of what you want every single day, or maybe from your perspective, you're on an upward spiral and you're becoming more of who you prefer to be. You could be pretty much in any of those 3 levels. Not that there's a better or worse, but you either are going down and not becoming who you want. You're just in this neutral space where you're creating the same thing every single day and you're kind of okay with it, but it's not really that exciting and fun. And on the 3rd level, which is not in any particular order, just kind of 3 levels that are all neutral in their own way, but it depends on what you want, of course. And number 3 is like you're becoming more of who you are. You're satisfied with who you're becoming. Like the process of who you're becoming, you're genuinely satisfied with that. That's what I encourage you to sit with, is who are you becoming? Are you satisfied with who you're becoming? Francis, I thought this was a video on how to become self-motivated. Aren't you going to give me the 7 tips on how to do that? Look, there's no 7 tips. You have to decide who you're going to become, in my opinion. You have to ask yourself, are you satisfied with who you're becoming? That's what motivates you. is to know your vision, know who you're becoming, know what you want on a consistent basis, and to commit to that. Not from an overly masculine perspective where you're imbalancing your energies. Sure, you can push the masculine energies if you feel called to do that in a certain way, in whatever way it means in that moment for you, whether it's in your creations or any aspect of life. But what you want to do is just honor the fact that you have to know what you actually want, know who you're becoming, and then ask yourself, are you satisfied with who you're becoming every single day? There's been times where I looked at myself in the mirror and I had to get honest with myself and say, I'm not happy with who Francis is becoming. You know, this isn't working well for me. Something needs to change. Something needs to shift. And that's typically the wake-up call that we need in order to become who we truly want. We have to have those wake-up calls sometimes, and we don't want to look at that. I get it. It's scary. It can be uncomfortable to look at that. But typically, if you look at people that have created a lot of success and had epic transformations in their life, whether in the short term or long term, in a long-term consistency fashion, or short term, whatever it is that, you know, that person transformed in whatever way, you'll find that there's always something in their life where they were at a rock bottom, where that rock bottom could have ate them up and even killed them in a way. It could have totally consumed them. They could have got consumed by their shadows. But something within them led them to not be consumed by that, and then it led them to become something more. So rather than them perceiving that rock bottom as a challenge, they became more. They became something more. They advanced their consciousness. They expanded their heart. They became who they truly wanted to be, because they realized that, look, I'm not happy with who I'm becoming. This is not going to work for me. And I think that's so critical to look at. I think we should not be afraid to look at the momentum that we're headed in, because we are headed in that momentum either way. So wouldn't it be a good idea to contemplate that's where you're going anyways? That's just my opinion. Now, number 3, what I want to share with you, which is number 2, is, by the way, just know who you want to become. Have that vision. Have that clear vision. Know exactly who you want to become and work towards that as much as possible. That's what's going to motivate you. Is the pain of where you're at and the dissatisfaction of where you are in the vision that you want to create. If you're looking at those two things on a consistent basis, that's what will motivate you to remember, hey, I don't want this, I want this. Know what you don't want, know what you want. If you have that contrast, you will always be motivated, in my opinion, or at least extremely motivated, more than the average person at least, because that's what most people don't look at. But the ones that do look at it are very self-motivated. At least that's been my experience, and I can see how that is reflected in the people that have created a lot of success that I look up to, so to speak, or see as successful and have qualities that I admire that I want to become more of. Now, number 3 is to think thoughts that are only in alignment with your vision and what actually you care about. See, because you always want to be thinking about what you truly care about. You want to be thinking those thoughts that are completely in alignment with your vision. Because if you're not thinking thoughts that are in alignment with your vision, you're still going to be thinking thoughts, and you're wasting mental energy that could be used to go in the direction of what you prefer to be experiencing. Does that make sense? Because listen, everything is energy. We only have a certain amount of energy, and your mind does take energy, just so that you know. Okay? When you're using your mind, are you using your mind, or is your mind using you? There's been times where I didn't take ownership over the thoughts that I was thinking. I wasn't using affirmations. I wasn't taking ownership over that creative masculine aspect of my life where I was using my mind. Not in a toxic way, but just to see like, hey, there's this beautiful tool that we've been given that we call the mind in this realm as humans. And if you're not using it, what are you doing? In my opinion. Now, if you don't want to be using it, that's fine. But if you want to be using it, then I encourage you to take ownership over that. Look at what you're thinking. You could do what I call a mental diet. What are your thoughts? Are your thoughts conducive to what you want to create? Are you assuming that what you want is going to happen? The law of assumption is incredibly powerful. If you assume that what you want is the case, you could literally alchemize your fears and just assume that you are a certain way, and you'll become that. You will literally become that. What you think about, you become. That's what happens. What you put your energy into with your mind, you will become more of that. So take a look at your thoughts. Or are you thinking the thoughts that are in alignment? Are you sloppy with your thinking? It can seem kind of, it's like over the top to be using your mind and to consistently be analyzing your thoughts, but it's not really about analyzing your thoughts. It's not about overthinking. It's about canceling everything that's not beneficial for you. Typically, I find what's very useful is to come from a clear channel, to accept the present moment as it is, to allow everything to be, to unconditionally accept everything as it is, to allow everything as it is, to not change this moment. But then once you do that, are you going to be sloppy with your thoughts? If you do want to use your thoughts, are you going to be thinking thoughts that are conducive to what you want to create? That's what's going to help you to be motivated. That's what's going to help you to alchemize your fears. That's what's been my experience. Is when I have a fear, I assume that the fear means nothing and that the assumption that I hold is what is going to manifest. That's always been my experience in any aspect of my life. So I encourage you to really take a look at what thoughts are you thinking? What are you assuming about life? Are your assumptions unconscious or conscious? Because you can assume things unconsciously, but you can also assume things consciously and actually use that to your advantage. That's what we call construction. You're constructing, you're reprogramming, you're realigning your mind and your intentions in a way that's going to be in alignment with your highest vision and what you've committed to and what is going to be supportive to your being in terms of what you actually care about. You want to be using your thoughts in that way. Give yourself permission to do so. Don't feel guilty. Don't feel bad. Give yourself permission to use your thoughts that are completely in alignment to what you think. It doesn't matter what they are. Just use your thoughts. Like, you can do that. You can do that. You can use your thoughts in any way. Pick the affirmations that are going to be beneficial for you. Pick the thoughts that are going to be supportive for you. Choose the thoughts that are going to be in alignment with your vision. And if you're thinking thoughts that are not in alignment with your vision, notice how that affects your emotional system. Notice how that doesn't support you. Wouldn't you want your thoughts to be supportive for you? Your mind can be your greatest enemy, but it can also be your greatest ally too. You know, people talk about like, oh, the mind is the greatest enemy. Look, I'm just gonna have to disagree. You know, like, my mind is my greatest friend. My mind supports me. I choose to use my mind in that way. My own mind is a supportive presence in my life. You know, like, my mind is my friend. I use my mind. It's like I value my mind. My mind is a very powerful tool. Like, you know, when you need the right tool for the right job, like, let's say, you know, you're trying to like cut something, you need like a wrench or something. Yeah, the tool that you need for the job is the wrench for whatever tool you like, for whatever you're doing. I don't know if that's the best example. I don't know if that was the best example to give, but you need a specific tool for a specific job. And to be self-motivated, using your thoughts is what you want. See, there's nothing wrong with the mind. It's just that we've demonized the mind, especially in the spiritual communities, as a bad thing. Now, is the mind a bad thing, really? Is it a bad thing? Or are we seeing it in that way because we haven't learned how to use the mind? If we can learn to use the mind in a powerful way and not see it as a bad thing, that's what you're going to need to create your dream life. That's what you're going to need to be self-motivated. So I simply invite and encourage you. I can't control you. I'm not here to make decisions for you. But I invite and encourage you to use your thoughts unapologetically, to own your thoughts in a way that is going to be supportive for you, to assume your manifestations to be true already, in a way that honors where you're at, where you're not believing in something that doesn't necessarily feel in resonance to you because like, oh, that doesn't feel like I can believe that. Okay, well then pick a different thought. Pick a thought that resonates for you, that totally honors where you're at. Pick the thoughts that are only going to be supportive to what you want to create. And with that, I conclude this video. Once again, if you want to be a part of the coaching program that I'm going to be running, which there are limited spots available to join that, hit the link that's in the description box of this video to apply for a free consultation to join that if you want to be a part of it. And also, please hit that like button for me so that more people can get access to this content, because I do believe that every single person on this planet does deserve to know that they are the creators of their reality and that they can manifest their reality and do so in the most effortless and easeful way possible. And hitting that like button does help the YouTube algorithm push the videos out to more people to help people to get access to what I believe to be incredibly valuable content. And with that, I conclude this video. As always, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.